Hello, everyone. This is Oliver B. Just wanted to take a few moments and share with you the protocols and procedures policy with respect to COVID-19 for indoor performances. We are proud to be able to offer indoor performances this year for our band, strings, choir, and theater. And so this is a brief presentation to go over these county protocols and policies so that we're all on the same page. So if you will, I will go ahead and share my screen at this time. So again, moving towards indoor performances, we're very excited to be going in this direction. Some important notes to start off this presentation. At this time, we are moving towards indoor performances and not indoor group practice. So that's the key thing to keep in mind. This applies to all of our performing arts curricula, band, choir, strings, and theater arts, as I mentioned earlier. Now, starting with theater arts, this, of course, is the first event that's coming up. It's going to be coming up, I believe, just on November 18th, as well as the 19th and the 20th. So it's fast approaching. And here's what the protocol in the latest county document states as far as theater arts is concerned. Students and instructors in theater arts classes must wear face masks at all times when indoors. It is recommended that there be increased physical distancing, as is, of course, appropriate and feasible. Limiting the sharing of props, costumes, and wigs if they need to be shared, choosing props and costumes and materials that can be easily disinfected. All props must be disinfected before use on the set, first use on the set, or used by different actors. And all shared clothing must be cleaned after each use, as well as with wigs. So for Glenn, if there's any assistance needed with this, with the custodial care services team, please let me know. The cleaning of dressing rooms, green rooms, production areas, of course, using our disinfectants. And of course, this has already been done, but always consider holding virtual or outdoor rehearsals and performance practices, which of course has been done rather than indoors. But masks must be worn at all times for any indoor activities. Moving along to band, choir, and strings. This is a lengthier piece of document from the county protocol, but any activity that requires the removal of face masks may only be done as a group if the activity is held outdoors. We already know that. However, individuals may practice activities alone indoors in a studio or practice room. That's just the starting point of this. But for us, the playing of wind instruments, those wind instruments is permitted indoors in a group setting, such as a performance, as long as the following measures are adhered to. Those playing the wind instruments must properly wear a modified face covering that allows for direct contact with the instrument mouthpiece whenever they are playing the instrument. And of course, working with Bill to secure those items. Instrument bell covers must be used during playing of wind instruments, which I know we've already secured. And of course, performing weekly screening testing twice a week of all individuals, regardless of vaccination status. And Mr. Blanas will be working with Bill as far as his students are concerned regarding that. And the testing will also apply for performances for our theater students, for our choir students, and for our string students. And like I mentioned, again, use of bell covers and those modified face coverings for our wind instrument students. And limiting the exchange of any instruments, making sure that instruments are properly cleaned or disinfected if they were going to be transferred in any way, shape, or form to any other student. Additional measures that we'll carry out in the Performing Arts Center or the PAC is staggered row seating. So one row will be blocked off, and another row will be used for seating, and so on and so forth. We'll have ushers. I would say for Glenn, in your situation, assigning some students who can serve as ushers to basically sweep. They'll be at the very first row for seating. They'll seat the patrons who entered that row, move up to the next available row, so on and so forth, moving on upwards towards the aisle, and we can certainly talk about that later on. Masking, as I mentioned earlier, masking is required in performances regardless of vaccination status. Where indoors, they must be worn. Theater students, choir students, restrained students, band students with a modified mask, they must be worn. And as the protocol mentioned, wind instrument students can perform with modified masks, bell covers, and they are required to do testing. That's the one piece in the protocol that specifically requires testing. So our wind instrument students must be tested twice weekly, regardless of vaccination status. Now, in a few moments, you'll see that I will state, in an abundance of caution, all of our performing students will be tested twice weekly. We'll go over that in a few moments. So speaking of testing and infection control, what does that exactly mean? Again, in an abundance of caution, all student performers will be tested for COVID-19 twice weekly, 1 week prior to the performance and the week of the performance. So in the case of Glenn students in theater arts, they'll be tested this week as well as next week, which is the week of the performance. Thanks to Mrs. Sarah Lavlanas, our assistant principal, she'll be providing more instructions and the registration process for our students and their families to actually be tested, as well as providing more instructions to our teachers. And please do let Ms. Lavlanas know the names of all of your student performers. They are the ones that will be tested twice weekly, the week prior to the performance and the week of the performance. Now, infection control, obviously we don't have RUVNA for our attendees, but we will have a series of questions posted outside the Performing Arts Center. So all attendees or patrons will be asked a series of questions, will be monitored prior to entry into the building, into the actual high school building, the entryway into the PAC. If they actually respond in the affirmative to any of the questions, they will not be able to enter the PAC. So health screening as part of our infection control will definitely be carried out. Now, of course, you may have questions. I'm here to answer them leading up to, say, the week prior to your performance. So any questions, you can, of course, call me at the office line, extension 2301 at the high school, or email me at the address below. But we're here to make this an awesome reality for our students, for our families, for our community, to finally have indoor performances following, of course, the LA County Department of Public Health order with respect to COVID-19. Thank you.